game of global domination is also a risky business, and the world's largest retailers have increasingly been forced into embarrassing exits from countries. Walmart quit from Germany in 2006 and Russia in 2010. Carrefour left Japan and Mexico in 2005 and left Russia last year. Metro, having pulled out of Morocco last year, it's now very likely that they'll be pulling out of the UK shortly as well. Let me say that again. Metro, having pulled out of Morocco last year, it is now very strong. Metro having pulled out of Morocco last year, it is now a very strong possibility that it will pull out of the UK as well. And there are also strong rumours that Tesco will soon be following Carrefour out of Japan. And Tesco's CEO, Philip Clark, has gone public saying they do not rule out pulling out of the USA with their Fresh and Easy venture, which is hardly surprising considering their current losses amount to over $900 million. Consolidation is taking many forms. Last month, Carrefour won shareholder approval to spin off its Spanish discount chain Dia, which has outlets in Southern Europe, China and South America. Dia's name has become successful in its own right. On the other hand, Carrefour, its profits have fallen in its domestic market by 35%, thanks to the downturn in the economy and the fierce competition. But with its presence in 31 countries, its international performance is much more impressive. In Brazil, where sales account for 8% of Carrefour's turnover, it is rumoured to be planning a merger with the country's largest retailer, which could spark a battle in Brazil with French arch-rival Casino, who also happens to have a kind of relationship with the same local retailer. South America, and especially Brazil, is a very lucrative market for all the big grocery players, thanks to the rising middle class and a surging consumer spend. South America is certainly a key focus for Walmart. In Brazil, it plans to invest over $760 million in 80 new hypermarkets, discount stores and grocery shops. In Chile, also 2 years ago, it acquired a controlling stake in a leading retail distributor. Moving back to Europe, Carrefour are investing $2.2 billion in refitting 500 of their superstores across Western Europe. The new format concept is called Carrefour Planet and will offer lower prices and more white label products. Personally, I think this is the wrong move for Western Europe. With an ageing population and a time-poor population, large store formats are losing their popularity and do not propose any radical solutions to the current market. On the other hand, Walmart's new Walmart Express, a name many think they stole from Tesco, the smaller store format, is arguably much more sense. Last year, Walmart International increased its selling space by about 8%, generating 12% improvement in sales. In the USA, however, where Walmart has suffered 8 consecutive quarters of falling off, let me read this whole thing again, Paul, sorry. Last year, Walmart International increased its selling space by about 8%, generating a 12% improvement in sales. In the USA, however, where Walmart has suffered 8 consecutive quarters of falling sales, its express market stores are being rolled out to fit into dense urban areas and serve more remote rural communities. It does seem now that Walmart is obsessed with the small store formats, as evidenced by the opening of Walmart Express in the US and the fairly recent purchase of buying Netto in the UK. They are also opening small store formats in China, so it does seem that it is becoming part of their global strategy. Moving back to Tesco, a convenience store rollout in the UK has been happening for a while now, and a similar strategy is underway with Sainsbury's, Asda and even Morrison's. In the meantime, sales in the established Tesco UK fell for a second successive quarter. Tesco is also very focused on its E&M commerce strategy, and Walmart also plans to drive its online sales, especially in Brazil and China, by consolidating e-commerce activities in a single global division. But in terms of markets, it is the East that holds the most attraction for the global retail giants. Staking its claim more recently has been Tesco. It has used its vast resources to develop a strong foothold in China and the Far East. It now is the biggest retailer in Korea and is generating annual profits of £300 million. Earlier this year, it agreed a joint venture to develop 3 Chinese shopping malls, anchored with Tesco hypermarkets, adding to over 100 stores in the country. The biggest untapped market is India, caused by restrictive laws and bureaucracy for years. However, last month the Indian government scrapped these laws, which now opens up huge potential. Tesco and Walmart already have wholesale partnerships in place, but I'm quite sure there will be a significant movement by them and many other global players as these restrictions are removed. The Middle East is another interesting market. Carrefour have been the dominant player here for years and are the first multinational retailer to enter Iraq since the war. Its local franchise partner, Majid Al Futtaim Group, are planning to open 11 more hypermarkets across the Gulf this year. And now we move on to Africa and Walmart's interests. As we all know, Walmart have invested a 51% stake in Massmart, worth $2.4 billion. $2.4 billion, I think, is a very good investment for Walmart, comparing it with the Carrefour investment in their existing hypers in Western Europe of a similar amount. I also think this is a marriage made in heaven for the African consumers, and we'll be talking more about that just now. I also want to point out, though, that it's not only Walmart who have interests in Africa. There are currently 3 other global players looking at the African market quite seriously, and some of those developments in looking are forming into agreements as we speak. Let me say that bit again. I also want to say there are other global players looking at the African continent. Some of these negotiations are already quite mature, and we should be hearing in the coming weeks who else will be in Africa competing with Walmart. Thank you. That's it for now. Let me get that done.